from Generation Imaging Know Your Rolls feature, we're going to talk about 16mm roll film, which is actually the most common type of microfilm, believe it or not. And this film actually is a great representation of a standard 16mm roll film. Now, why is it called 16mm? Well, if you take a ruler, measure across, it's going to be 16 millimeters in the metric system. How many of these images can you fit on a roll of film? Well, there are no standards in creating microfilm that have been followed in history. So some microfilmer can put one image on an entire roll and it's going to be a whole entire blank roll. However, there are some standards we've come across over the years, and a 100-foot roll, and sometimes there'll be a label on a box that will tell you it's 100 feet, usually contains between 1,800 frames and 2,200 frames, or as we like to estimate in the industry, 2,000 images. It's a ballpark just like almost everything in this industry, give or take a few hundred images. However, as a standard roll, this is 24x reduction ratio, which means that originally it was an 8.5 by 11 office document and it's been reduced 24 times. When we scan it, we will blow it back up 24 times, so you have the original size of your document, so it will not be out of proportion. The size, the reduction, allows you to fit many images on here, more or less. For example, if the image was shrunk down 42 times, you can fit a whole lot more images on here. Who microfilms the rolls? Well, many times if you encounter a roll, it was done in like 1968, and no one really knows why they chose 24x, 32x, or 42x. Other times there are government standards where it has to be 24x or what have you. Anyway, we've seen 16mm film have anywhere from 20 to 48x with some variations there. Finally, there are some duplex rolls, meaning two images in one, and they're shrunk all the way. They look like little checks or little smaller images, and we've seen rolls that can have 22,000 or more images on there, if you can even imagine that. So technically you can have anywhere from 1 to say 25,000 images on here, but generally it'll be around 2,000 if it looks like this. This is a negative roll, meaning black background with white letters, which is the opposite of what you see in real life. When we digitize it, it will be reverted back to normal. This is also an original film, which means it is not a duplicate. It's a solid black. This film also has an emulsion side and a shiny side. Those are all filming terms. You don't have to worry about those. 16mm has a few different types that the 35mm types do not have. This is a standard type. However, in addition to the duplex, which is front and back, or page 1, page 2, it's also something called duo, which is an extremely rare type of roll where they start filming just on this side with blank side here, and they'd start all the way up, go through all the way the roll, and when they hit the end, they actually start on the other side like a snake, like a serpentine snake, then go all the way. So they actually, the end is right here on the right side and the beginning's on the left side, if you can even conceive something like that. And it is so rare, we don't have a copy of for you today. There's another type. It's a pesky type. Do you see how there's nice clear space in between each document? This allows the scanners to easily detect the edge of the film. Some 16mm can have a blip, which is a little counter, which would be a little rectangle at the beginning of every image or the beginning of each new document break, as indicated by the X here. Without a blip, we can detect on the edge. However, the edge assumes that there's space in between every rectangle, every image. If it's not, the detection will just go crazy. So if you have a roll that has absolutely no blank space, we call that a continuous roll film. Some of them are purposely made like that. They could be computer printouts. You know, those old school computer printouts where there's just like those papers, you just go perforated hole papers, just keep going like that. Those old school computer papers would just be a giant rectangle. Other times there is COM rolls where it is computer generated digitally. So you'd have frame, but the background is black. So there's no space in between them. Yes, we can do them. Next, what type of documents can be on these rolls of film? The answer, everything and anything.